Welcome to AnewZ. I'm Leila Masimwa. Here are the top stories. At least 10 killed in mass shooting in Montenegro. The suspect had a history of illegal weapons possession, local police says. Tesla Cybertruck exploded outside US President-elect Donald Trump's Las Vegas hotel. Investigators looking for links between this incident and New Orleans attack, which took 15 lives. German government condemns New Year's Eve violence after hundreds of arrests. A devastating incident in Montenegro has left multiple families grieving after a tragic act of violence in the city of Cetinje. The government has declared a period of mourning. Details are still emerging, but the scale of loss has deeply impacted the nation.
At least 10 people, including 2 children, were killed in a mass shooting in Cetinje, Montenegro. The violence began in a restaurant in the historic capital of Cetinje, where a verbal argument escalated into a shooting, according to police and local media. The attacker, identified as 45-year-old Alexander Martinovic, initially killed several people inside the restaurant, including members of his own family and the children of the restaurant owner. He then exited the premises and continued shooting in the street, killing 2 children, police sources reported. Authorities confirmed that the gunman fled the scene but was later surrounded by police. Despite attempts to persuade him to surrender, he fatally injured himself. According to police, the suspect received a suspended sentence in 2005 for violent behavior and has appealed his latest conviction for illegal possession of weapons. Local media have reported he was known for erratic and violent behavior. Interior Minister of Montenegro Danilo Saranovic attributed the incident to disturbed interpersonal relations, while Montenegrin Prime Minister Milojko Spajic expressed deep sorrow, calling the event a terrible tragedy. He announced 3 days of national mourning to honor the victims. 4 individuals remain in critical condition after being seriously injured during the shooting and were transferred to a hospital in Podgorica for emergency surgery. As mass shootings are uncommon in Montenegro, a small Balkan nation with a population of about 600,000, the incident has shocked the country.
A deadly explosion involving a Tesla Cybertruck rocked the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas, killing the driver and injuring several others. The FBI is now probing the incident for possible terrorist connections following a similar attack in New Orleans.
A Tesla Cybertruck exploded outside the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas on Wednesday, killing the driver and injuring 7 others. The FBI is investigating the blast as a potential act of terrorism, especially following a similar incident earlier in New Orleans, where a truck attack killed 15. Eyewitness videos captured the explosion, sending flames and smoke into the air. Authorities later found burned canisters inside the truck, suggesting explosives may have been involved. Tesla CEO Elon Musk confirmed on social media platform X that the explosion was caused by large fireworks or a bomb in the truck's bed, not the vehicle itself, and that all vehicle telemetry was positive at the time. The Cybertruck had been rented through the car-sharing service, and the driver's identity has not yet been revealed. FBI and local police are working to determine if the events in Las Vegas and New Orleans are connected.
We're tracking the explosion of a Cybertruck outside the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. Law enforcement and the intelligence community are investigating this as well, including whether there's any possible connection with the attack in New Orleans.
Las Vegas police noted that the Cybertruck's design helped limit damage with no major destruction to the Trump Hotel.
So the question is there any links to ISIS? And I will tell you that we don't have any indication of that here in Las Vegas, no overt ISIS flag as was seen in New Orleans. But again, we are investigating every aspect of this.
The explosion occurred just hours after the New Orleans truck attack, prompting heightened concerns about potential coordinated incidents. The connection between the two events, as well as the motives behind them, remains unclear as federal, state and local agencies collaborate on the investigation.
The man responsible for the horrific attack on the Bourbon Street in New Orleans is identified to be U.S. Army veteran Shamsuddin Jabbar, and the incident is believed to be related to ISIS by the FBI.
15 people are reported dead and dozens injured after a truck was intentionally ploughed into a crowd on the famous Bourbon Street in New Orleans. The driver was shot dead at the crime scene.
The subject has been identified as 42-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar, a U.S.-born citizen from Texas. He was driving a Ford pickup truck, which appears to be rented, and we are working to confirm how the subject came in possession of this vehicle. An ISIS flag was located on the trailer hitch of the vehicle, and the FBI is working to determine the subject's potential associations and affiliations with terrorist organizations.
President Joe Biden said the FBI informed him that Jabbar posted videos online hours before the attack, expressing support for ISIS and a desire to kill. President Biden's statement emphasized the attack's gravity as the FBI investigates further. Multiple questions were raised by the public about the security barriers meant to protect pedestrians from vehicles. These barriers were removed for replacement due to malfunctions prior to the attack. Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry addressed the situation, saying they recognize the problem and will fix it. Officials announced that all parties and events will be postponed for 24 hours, including the famous Sugar Bowl, a New Year's Day college football tradition in New Orleans.
The German government condemned a series of incidents on New Year's Eve in which police officers and firefighters were attacked and injured, mostly with fireworks. In Berlin, 30 police officers and one firefighter were injured in confrontations or attacks during New Year's Eve, leading to 400 arrests, city officials said. Hundreds of police officers from across the country were deployed to the capital to help prevent further violence. Nationwide, 5 deaths were reported from firework accidents, and explosions caused extensive damage in Berlin, injuring several. Despite calls for a nationwide ban on private use of fireworks, they continue to be a significant part of New Year's celebrations in Germany. But the latest celebrations were marred by the use of fireworks against emergency officials. To UK now, where Manchester, also known as a rainy city, is flooding by heavy rains. Footages reveal scenes of flooding, cars stranded by the water. Hundreds of residents in the Greater Manchester area have been evacuated from their homes. For now, injuries have been reported, but local workers continue to unclog drains as weather warnings persist, with forecasters predicting worsening conditions in the area. Russian gas supplies to European Union countries via Ukraine have ended after a 5-year deal between Ukraine's gas transit operator Naftogaz and Russia's Gazprom expired. Kyiv earlier said the deal would not be extended.
Russian gas supplies to Europe via Ukraine ended as a 5-year transit deal between Russian Gazprom and Ukraine's Naftogaz expired. Kyiv has refused to negotiate a new transit deal, with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky saying earlier that the deal would not be extended, giving the EU a year to prepare. The European Commission said the continent had sufficient capacity to cope with the end of transit via Ukraine. Moldova, which is not part of the EU, could be seriously affected as the gas fueled a power plant on which the country relies for most of its electricity needs. It also supplied the Russia-backed breakaway region of Transnistria. The Soviet-era pipeline via Ukraine brought gas from Siberia via the town of Sudzha, now under the control of Ukrainian soldiers, in Russia's Kursk region. It then flowed through Ukraine to Slovakia, where the pipeline splits into branches going to Czechia and Austria. Ukraine is giving up some $800 million a year in fees from Russia, while Gazprom will lose close to $5 billion in gas sales to Europe via Ukraine. Russia can still send gas to Europe through the Turk Stream pipeline across the Black Sea, while most other gas routes to the continent are shut, including Yamal Europe via Belarus and Nord Stream under the Baltic that was blown up in 2022. The EU has significantly reduced imports of Russian gas since Moscow launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022.
A massive oil spill in the Kerch Strait, Russia's Black Sea coast, has triggered an environmental crisis, prompting thousands of volunteers to join cleanup operations. Russian authorities declared a state of emergency as fuel oil and sand pollute the coastline after 2 tankers were damaged in a storm on December. Last year, President Putin called it an ecological disaster with over 71,000 tons of pollution removed. Cleanup efforts continue with up to 200,000 tons of sand and soil affected. The disaster happened in an area that provides an important habitat for seabirds and dolphins. Among the worst hit locations in Anapa is Anapa, a popular tourist resort that is known for its golden sandy beaches. The spill occurred in the Kerch Strait, which separates southern Russia from Crimea, which Moscow annexed from Ukraine in 2014. A massive blackout struck Puerto Rico on New Year's Eve, leaving much of the island without power. While essential services were restored, residents face uncertainty as efforts to bring electricity back to all affected areas continue.
Puerto Rico experienced a massive power outage on December 31st, leaving nearly the entire island without electricity. The blackout began early Tuesday morning, affecting most of the island. By 9 p.m., power had been restored to critical facilities like hospitals, but over half of the island remained without electricity. Luma Energy, the private company overseeing power distribution, indicated that it could take up to 48 hours to fully restore service. As residents scrambled to prepare for the possibility of extended outages, many rushed to gas stations to fuel up generators.
We've been without electric power since 5:30 this morning, so we're stocking up here so we can turn on the generator to sort things out for tonight.
Well, according to what I've heard, it's going to take a while to get all the power back up, so we are going to prepare so we're not caught off guard for 2 or 3 days.
The outage is believed to have been caused by a failure in an underground line operated by LUMA, which knocked out power plants and disrupted private generators. Spokesperson Ivan Baez explained that the failed line took down both public and private power sources. In response, Governor Pedro Pierluisi urged Luma and Genera to expedite the restoration process, posting on social media platform X. This power failure highlights ongoing concerns over Puerto Rico's aging electrical grid, which has struggled with chronic outages for years.
Rome had an ice welcome for the new year, with divers gathering for traditional jumps in the Tiber River. The 80-year tradition continued with a new winner of 18-meter jumps.
Italians welcomed the new year with a traditional leap into the icy River Tiber from the Cavour Bridge. The spectacle dating back decades sees divers brave the 18-metre drop, and this year the title known as Mr. OK was awarded to Marco Foyce. The annual event attracts not only locals but tourists as well.
So we're excited to be in Rome and see the diving. We have never been here before on New Year's, and we had a very good New Year's. And we hope that all divers make it safely into the river. And yeah, we hope for a very good New Year for Rome and Italy.
The event is a New Year tradition dating back to 1946, when an unemployed lifeguard who was trying to find work as a stuntman leapt into the waters from the bridge to advertise his skills.
Well, that's all we have for this hour. You can also get latest news and headlines around the clock on our website, that is AnewZ.tv. Thank you for watching, and we also wish you a good day ahead.